The reason why bilinguals, or God forbid monolinguals, are becoming more and more handicapped by the day without even noticing it is probably because they can't speak to most of the population with only one or two languages. And that's why language learning is a superpower, because most people, I'm saying this in the most honest way possible, most people will probably not know English when you speak to them. Most people living on Earth do not know English. That is just a common truth. And this is especially pronounced, especially important if you're American or you come from the United Kingdom, if your native language is English. People are literally submitting to you by speaking English. You're basically building a dictatorship based on your native language. You're losing every time you're speaking English with someone whose native language is not English. For example, let's say you're in a room with a Romanian and another Romanian as an American. What happens when the two Romanians find out they can both speak Romanian? That they both know a native language, the native language of one another, and it's their native language as well. You will be immediately excluded. You are lost as an American. There is no way they will continue speaking English, a literal foreign language, when there is another person that speaks their native language and it's their native language as well. If you don't know Romanian, and of course, I'm not telling you to learn Romanian, learn French or Spanish or something more widely used first. But just saying, if you don't know a good amount of languages, you will for sure be excluded at some point. You will lose immensely because of it. For example, why are languages like Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, French, and Hindi becoming more and more obligatory, mandatory? Why are they slightly becoming more and more mandatory, less I forgot the word, less optional? Because most people will be speaking those languages as a native language. Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, has by far the biggest amount of native speakers. Spanish has more than English. And yeah, English has a lot of L2 speakers, which are basically people that learn it as a second language. But they will most likely not be very impressed if you come with your PhD in English and whatever and speak English to them. The languages that actually give you some social benefit are actual foreign languages, because most people don't even consider English a foreign language, even though that like for people that learn it as a second language, it very clearly is. If you don't know a handful of languages, you're going to miss out on a lot of social things. Need I say, the literature and all the media that you can consume through that foreign language. There are so many things that you can learn about our current world situation by learning Mandarin Chinese and reading what the CCP puts out. You can learn a lot by learning Hindi and going to India and talking with the native population. You can learn a lot about European history by learning French and reading the text in the original form. If you don't know a very important language and read a translated version, you'll probably be lost in translation. There's no doubt about that. So what am I trying to say with this video? Am I trying to encourage you to learn every single language of the world? I mentioned Romanian, which is a pretty niche language, only like 20 million native speakers. It's my native language. But really, imagine what I'm doing by speaking English at this very moment. I'm meeting you halfway. That's what English is for. We're literally building a bridge, because maybe English is your native language. Maybe it's not. If it's not, we're both building a bit of a bridge and meeting each other halfway. I'm not speaking Romanian or Spanish, which is also kind of my native language, and you're not speaking Hindi or Polish or whatever, even if Romanian is your native language, or we're actually meeting each other halfway. If you're English, I'm building the entire bridge. You're not putting any effort in order to actually speak to me. I'm speaking to you in English because you couldn't understand me any other way. It's your native language. I'm sure that you're not a monolingual. If you're American, I'm sure you're not a monolingual. If you're watching this channel, if you're Romanian as well, you're listening in English, you're definitely bilingual, but it's not enough. English is becoming a lot more redundant day by day as India, China, Japan, and more of the Eastern countries are becoming more powerful. Yes, the United States, the UK, American culture is still being shoved down our throats. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because most of it is pretty great. Learning English is a great benefit, not only because it has a lot of native speakers, but also because the literature and movies and pretty much everything made in English, it infects its way into everything. It's a mandatory language. But if you actually want to be a cultured person, if you want a bit of decency when it comes to language, and I'm gonna say this word again, culture and social based activities, learn French, learn Spanish, learn Mandarin or Hindi or Bengali, learn something new, because one day you'll sure be extremely sorry if you would not learn one of these languages. They are becoming more mandatory by the day, and people that are only monolingual or only know English as a foreign language and speak it seriously are becoming more handicapped, more redundant day by day, maybe without realizing it. I'll see you later.